Phil Robertson, the well-known patriarch of the Duck Dynasty family, has passed away. His family shared the sad news on Sunday, May 25, 2025. He was 79 years old at the time of his death. The family's announcement expressed their deep sorrow, but did not immediately share the specific cause of his passing. Fans across the nation are remembering the reality TV star. He became a household name through the popular A&D show. His distinctive personality and family life captivated many viewers for years. The news has brought an outpouring of reactions from various public figures and fans alike. This news, while sudden to some, follows recent concerns about his health. Last December, in 2024, his family bravely revealed a significant health challenge. They announced that Phil had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. This condition undoubtedly presented new difficulties for him and his loved ones. Furthermore, he had been battling a long-standing blood disease for many years. His family had shared that this pre-existing condition had unfortunately worsened in recent times. These health struggles paint a picture of his final years. He faced these personal battles while remaining a public figure. Phil Robertson wasn't always a television star. His fame came later in life. He shot to national and international prominence in the early 2010s. This was all thanks to the mega-hit reality TV series, Duck Dynasty. The show centered on the Robertson family and their successful duck hunting business. Based in rural West Monroe, Louisiana, Duck Commander became a famous brand. Viewers were drawn to the family's unique way of life and their business. Phil, as the often grizzled patriarch, was a central figure in the show's appeal. His strong opinions and traditional values were always on full display for the cameras. Duck Dynasty was more than just a fleeting success. It became a cultural phenomenon. The show aired on A&D for an impressive 11 seasons, running from 2012 to 2017. It wasn't just popular, it was a massive commercial success for the network. What made it so special to millions of viewers each week? Perhaps it was the blend of family dynamics, faith, and down-to-earth humor. The show offered a glimpse into a very different American lifestyle, one rooted in the outdoors. It celebrated family bonds, entrepreneurial spirit, and a distinct Southern culture. Phil's memorable one-liners and unwavering convictions were key ingredients to its widespread appeal. However, Phil Robertson's time in the spotlight was not without significant controversy. While Duck Dynasty celebrated family values, Phil's outspoken views often sparked debate. His deeply held conservative beliefs, particularly on social issues, led to several public firestorms. The most prominent of these controversies erupted in 2013, fundamentally altering his public image. This was due to an interview he gave to GQ magazine. The remarks made in that publication would have lasting repercussions for him and the show. It marked a turning point where his personal views became a national talking point. Suddenly, the focus shifted from duck calls to deeply divisive societal questions. In the now infamous December 2013 GQ interview, Phil Robertson did not hold back. He made several remarks that were widely condemned as offensive and inflammatory. He controversially equated homosexuality with bestiality, a comparison that drew immediate outrage. He also shared his perspective on the pre-civil rights era in the South. Robertson claimed that, growing up in Louisiana, he never saw the mistreatment of any black person. These comments about race relations were seen by many as downplaying a painful history. His words ignited a fierce debate about free speech, religious beliefs, and social responsibility. The interview quickly became a flashpoint in the ongoing culture wars across America. The fallout from the GQ interview was swift and significant for Robertson. A&D, the network airing Duck Dynasty, responded by suspending him from the show. This suspension lasted for 9 days, a period filled with intense public discussion. A&D released a statement clarifying that his personal views did not align with their core values. However, the Robertson family stood firmly by their patriarch during this challenging time. They publicly defended his comments, framing them as expressions of his conservative Christian faith. They argued he was simply speaking his truth based on his religious convictions. This unified family front was a powerful message to their supporters and critics alike. Beyond the temporary suspension, the GQ interview had a lasting impact on Phil Robertson's image. He was reinstated to Duck Dynasty, but the controversy lingered heavily over him. For many, he became a symbol of religious traditionalism clashing with modern social norms. To his supporters, he was a brave truth-teller unafraid to speak his mind. To his critics, he was a purveyor of hateful and ignorant rhetoric. This incident firmly cemented his reputation as a highly controversial public figure. It also set a precedent for his continued willingness to voice strong, often polarizing opinions. The lines were drawn, and his public persona became inextricably linked to this defining moment. The GQ controversy did not silence Phil Robertson. If anything, it seemed to embolden him. He continued to be an outspoken voice on matters of faith and politics. In 2014, just months after the GQ incident, he addressed the Republican Leadership Conference. This event, held in New Orleans, provided him with a prominent platform. He delivered a strong message to the GOP leaders gathered there. He famously told them, "You can't be right for America if you're wrong with God." This statement further highlighted his belief that religious principles should guide political action. It reinforced his image as a man deeply committed to his spiritual worldview. His appearances at conservative gatherings continued to generate attention and sometimes more controversy. In 2015, Phil Robertson spoke at the Conservative Political Action Conference, commonly known as CPAC. During this speech, he shared a graphic and disturbing story. It involved an imagined scenario of an atheist family being violently attacked, raped, and murdered. This particular anecdote was intended to illustrate a point about godlessness, but it drew significant backlash. Many found the story to be unnecessarily gruesome and inappropriate for the venue. Despite the criticism, Robertson remained steadfast in his approach, rarely backing down from his statements. These instances showcased his unyielding commitment to his message, regardless of public disapproval. Phil Robertson also became a vocal and staunch supporter of Donald Trump. His alignment with the former president was clear and frequently expressed. In 2019, this support was visibly demonstrated at a Trump rally in Monroe, Louisiana. President Trump invited both Phil and his son Willie Robertson onto the stage. During this appearance, Phil passionately articulated his political and personal values. He declared to the cheering crowd, "If you're pro-God and pro-America and pro-gun and pro-duck hunting, that's all I want." This statement encapsulated the core tenets he championed throughout his public life. It resonated deeply with many in the audience and further solidified his political identity. His support for Donald Trump extended beyond just one rally appearance. In a 2020 podcast, Robertson discussed his relationship with Trump, even mentioning he had preached the gospel to him. He also formally endorsed Trump for the 2024 presidential election, showing continued loyalty. He explained his political judgment by saying, "I'm a Trump supporter. I weigh a man in politics. I judge them by what they've done." Amidst the controversies, Robertson also received accolades from conservative circles. For instance, in 2014, he was honored with a Free Speech Award from Citizens United. This conservative nonprofit group recognized him for his willingness to speak his mind. These honors stood in contrast to the widespread criticism he often faced. Following the news of his passing yesterday, tributes began to pour in, especially from conservative figures. Many prominent voices in conservative politics and media shared their condolences and praise. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, for example, remembered him fondly. She called Phil Robertson a living example of what God can do, highlighting his faith. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene also offered prayers for him and his family. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk described him in even stronger terms, calling him an American icon. These tributes reflect the deep admiration he garnered from those who shared his views. They saw him as a courageous defender of traditional values in a changing world. Phil Robertson himself addressed the numerous controversies and the backlash he faced. In 2022, he released a book titled Uncancelled: Finding Meaning and Peace in a Culture of Accusations, Shame, and Condemnation. In this book, he offered his perspective on being at the center of public outrage. He discussed the challenges of navigating a culture he felt was quick to condemn. The book aimed to provide guidance for others facing similar scrutiny or cancellation. It was his way of framing his experiences and sharing the lessons he believed he learned. This publication offered insight into how he processed the criticism and controversies. He sought to define his own narrative amidst the often turbulent public discourse surrounding him. Phil Robertson leaves behind a truly complicated and deeply divisive legacy for us to consider. To his many supporters, he was a man of unwavering faith and conviction. They admired him as a fearless patriarch who championed Christian values and American traditions. However, to his critics, he was often seen as a purveyor of offensive and harmful rhetoric. His controversial statements on social issues undeniably alienated large segments of the population. These controversies are not just footnotes, they are intrinsically linked to his public persona. They significantly shaped how he was perceived by millions, both positively and negatively. His legacy will likely continue to be debated for years to come. The Duck Dynasty name, meanwhile, is set to continue in some form. A reboot of the show, reportedly titled Duck Dynasty: The Revival, is in development. It is expected to premiere this summer in 2025, focusing on the newer generations of the Robertson family. Phil Robertson's passing marks the end of an era for the original show's fans. His life and his words sparked countless conversations and strong reactions. We invite you, our readers, to share your own thoughts on Phil Robertson's legacy in the comments below. How will you remember the Duck Dynasty patriarch and his impact? Thank you for taking the time to read this reflection on his life and career.